India is a very big opportunity. It's a rising power. Those countries also have converted their policy into the Act East policy. So Act East policy means they're looking at their markets.
Right.
China, India, Japan, South Korea, like that. And on the other hand, India has now, may call its policy a Link West, but I think it's an action. It is Act West policy.
Hello, this is StatNews Global. You're on the gist, and I'm Tripti Nath. We have in our studio today Dr. Anil Trigunayat, Distinguished Fellow at the Vivekananda International Foundation in New Delhi. Dr. Trigunayat, as we all know, has served in the Indian missions in Bangladesh, Mongolia, United States, Russia, Sweden, Nigeria, Libya, and Jordan. In the Ministry of External Affairs, he's worked in the economic, West Asia, and North Africa and Consular divisions. Dr. Trigunayat has also served as Director General, Joint Secretary in the Gulf and Hajj divisions in the Ministry of External Affairs, New Delhi. Thank you so much indeed, Ambassador Trigunayat, for accepting our request for this conversation and coming all the way from Gurugram.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
To make this happen.
It's a pleasure.
It was our pleasure. You would have seen reports about External Affairs Minister landing in Riyadh yesterday, and he was very quick to tweet about it, as he always is. He is there to attend the first India Gulf Cooperation Council Foreign Ministers meeting. And the MEA has said that the Foreign Ministers meeting will be an opportunity to review and deepen institutional cooperation between India and the GCC across various domains. Foreign policy experts say that the summit scores high on diplomatic symbolism and India's outreach. It's a different way that India is looking at the world. What is your assessment about this meeting?
Thank you. This is an extremely important development in my view. We have been working for a very long time to have an institutionalized cooperation at the foreign ministers level, at the summit level meetings. But what we have seen is in the last decade or so that there has been a greater emphasis on turning the relationships with the Gulf countries and the countries in West Asia, which the rest of the world calls as Middle East, from transactional to a strategic partnership. So in the past 10 years, we have seen Prime Minister Modi has been to UAE about 7 times. He's been to other countries, Qatar twice, and Oman, nearly every country except Kuwait and the GCC. And we have developed our relationship into a strategic partnership with all these countries, which means that the engagement, areas of engagement or the catchment area, so to say, the foreign policy has been expanded beyond a point. We have done mostly on bilateral basis. But in recent years, we have seen that we have started moving into a sub-regional ways. We had collaborations with Arab League, which is 22 countries, with the GCC, we have been discussing for a very long time, a free trade agreement also. So we've been interacting with them. But at the same time, there was no institutionalized cooperation in that sense. And therefore, what we are seeing now is that after we have taken our relationship to a very different level, bilaterally with nearly every country, and more particularly with the GCC countries, it is time that we move to sub-regional and regional cooperation. So sub-regional, as you remember, we have seen in the I2U2, in which India, UAE, USA, and Israel are partners. Then there is something called IUSU, India, US, Saudi Arabia, and UAE, those 4 countries. And now we are looking at this regional flux. So when there is a focus on the region, now GCC, as you know, is one of the biggest entities in terms of our trade, economy, investments, energy, all these areas, and the P2P contacts. This is something that now, after a pretty long time, I would say, that this is a big achievement for India to institutionalize this. And it can go further. Thereafter, it can be at the level of the heads of states. It can develop into an India-Middle East Forum or whichever way. But it will provide us a great opportunity. And we have to also look at it not only in this context. We have to look at it in the context of India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. both in that we have at least 4 countries from the Middle East part of it. The UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan and Israel. These are the 4 countries that are involved. But Saudi Arabia and UAE are also quite prime movers of this Gulf Cooperation Council. And therefore, I think that this will be an important meeting. It will also provide an opportunity to have bilateral meeting with all the 6 foreign ministers or who are participating there.
Right,
to
I think
carry it
he's
forward.
already meeting the foreign ministers.
He has met the foreign minister
As
of
we
Saudi and
talking,
Qatar as
right.
we did, yes.
Right. So, what strikes me as a little odd is that, this is one of the largest trading blocs,
Yes.
the GCC, and it comprises Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. It was formed in 1981, and India's dependence on the GCC region for energy security is as well known as their reliance on India for food security. So they are very important components of partnership. So why do you think it has taken almost a quarter of a century for this kind of this kind of a partnership to assume the role of a summit?
Well, my assessment is that for a very long time, our relationship was, as I said, was mostly transactional. We were buying oil and gas from there and we were paying for it, and then we had our people living there, about 8-9 million Indians who live there, and sending about $50-60 billion of foreign exchange to India. That was it. And they are the nearest neighbors for us. So we did not even have a policy. In 2013-14, I remember clearly we were struggling to define how to move forward. So even then we came up with the best word called Link West, whereas we have been linked with them for thousands of years. It's not from now. But there has been, I must say, you can look at it, since Mrs. Gandhi's visit in 1982 until 2008 and 10, we had no major prime ministerial visits to the region. Now, in these countries, it is very important to develop personal linkages at the leadership level, which Prime Minister Modi, I must say that he has really been able to achieve it and has tremendous linkages with these leaders, and has been that's one thing that has catapulted the relationship to a very different level. Now, another question was that we somehow did not project India's Islamic credentials properly. Pakistan was able to highlight it and was able to become member of the OIC, as you know, in 1969. And thereafter, we presumed that all these countries are so Islamic that they will not look at India very kindly, and therefore we let it be. And therefore now they have realized that India is a very big opportunity. It's a rising power. Those countries also have converted their policy into the Act East policy. So Act East policy means they are looking at their markets.
Right.
China, India, Japan, South Korea, like that. And on the other hand, India has now, may call its policy a Link West, but I think it's an action. It is Act West policy. Because the way the action has taken place, and there are umpteen number of examples that this is delivering its dividends. For example, with UAE, we have signed this comprehensive economic partnership agreement in the fastest period, 88 days only. It's a huge document, 880 pages, and it has been signed, and it has already started showing its dividends. Likewise, the fugitives, economic and otherwise criminals in these countries, it was impossible to get them. But today, now they are the fastest we can get them. From UK, we could not get a Malaya or a Nirav Modi and others, but those who are living in Dubai or elsewhere, except D Company, everything else has come to India.
Food security is a very important dimension, and all the more so now because they were dependent on, the GCC countries were dependent on Russia and Ukraine, which have been in conflict more, in war mode for over 2 years. And so obviously the supply of wheat has got disrupted. And this is a huge opportunity for India to try and step up its supply. And how do you look at it?
Well, I think that like for us, they are equally important for us for 2 reasons, both energy security and food security. Now, food not for imports, but food is fertilizer in this sense. So for our agriculture, import of fertilizer is very important. One of the first biggest plants that we set up was in Oman, OMIFCO, fertilizer plant, and we are importing everything that they produce there. So it is very important for us. Jordan's, the maximum phosphates we import from there, so they are very important for us. At the same time, they require food supplies. As you rightly mentioned, due to Russia-Ukraine war, they have come into this. So therefore, what India is trying to do is, we have, as you know, under the I2U2, there is a $2 billion grant by the UAE, through which the food corridors are being created now. Now, likewise, I think that we are also working in third countries, in the Africa especially, where the land is available in plenty. The UAE and other countries, Gulf countries, have money, funds. India has the expertise in the agriculture sector. So I think that that is something that we are looking at, and there is a win-win situation for both. Yeah.
So, Jaishankar is holding bilateral meetings with foreign ministers. We talked about it in passing. What purpose will these bilateral meetings serve? Because India and GCC countries enjoy a very deep and multifaceted relationship, including in many areas like political, trade and investment, energy cooperation, cultural and people-to-people ties, even you mentioned.
You know, world is in a flux. Every day there is a new challenge. And these countries are also very important. Like India, they are also beginning to follow strategic autonomy, a policy that's where our convergences are there. So it's always useful to really interact with them, to understand what are their concerns, how they are dealing with it. For example, UAE and Saudi Arabia are playing a very major role in Russia-Ukraine conflict for exchange of prisoners and others they have done recently. Turkey is playing a very important role in that. Likewise, in this war between Israel and Hamas, we are seeing that Qatar and Turkey are the major interlocutors. So when you meet with them, apart from your bilateral relations, you tend to assess, because see, this region is so important for us, for the region of 3 E's, as I said, energy, economy and expatriates, that anything happens, if the region is destabilized for whatever reason, it will have a direct impact on us. The sea lanes of communications are extremely important. 80-90% of our trade goes through that. So if those are already, as you know, the Houthis have been threatening it, and if there is a war breaks out, escalation. So it is very important. So I think Dr. Jaishankar's meetings will be very clearly focusing on this. And likewise, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, who's here today, he called on Prime Minister and President. So these are the things that are discussed in these. The global challenges are there. Apart from this, climate change and others, there are so many issues which are there, which we discuss every time you come up. And then you get the assessment of these countries exactly, because they're involved directly in certain conflict zones. So how to work together. And you need to have that kind of a safety valve and safety mechanisms for your own people.
The Ministry of External Affairs says that the GCC region has emerged as a major trading partner for India. I understand that good progress has been made on the free trade agreement negotiations. What is your sense of it?
Well, it's currently, I think our bilateral trade is about, with GCC countries, about $185 billion in the last year. And it's increasing. UAE is our third largest trading partner in the world after China and US. Saudi Arabia is our fourth largest trading partner. So irrespective of our dependence on energy security and other things, they are very important. They have become the focal of the West Asia region. Now, these 6 countries and the GCC, and they remain very, very important. As far as the FTA is concerned, I think we've been talking for quite some time now. This has just been resumed again. A second time when I was handling Delhi, this thing, we started off, tried to push it. There were always some concerns, market access issues. In certain areas, they wanted to invest in India. They were not open. For example, the real estate, the mine markets and all. Today, all that is open. So they're investing a lot of money in India. So UAE has committed to about $75 billion investment in India. Saudi Arabia has $100 billion. Kuwait and Qatar, all of them are investing in India. Because India is a very big opportunity in different areas, and they realize it. And that's the reason that they are part of the IMEC corridors and others. And those countries are also diversifying their economies, in which they see India as a major partner. And I think that this is the opportunity that lies there. And therefore, FTA will benefit both sides. We were also concerned because we are one of the biggest producers, for example, for petroleum products. We are exporting a lot of petroleum products to the world. And these countries are also part of the export chain. And so therefore, those kind of issues require what kind of duty structures will be there. But since we already have a template which was signed with UAE, this Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, we are discussing similar one in the Oman. So I think it will be much more easier for us to go forward and present the same to the GCC countries as well.
I understand that India and GCC countries are looking for joint manufacturing projects of defense equipment. How feasible is this?
Well, they are all looking to diversify their supplies, and India is trying to work as a major exporter in a way, and we are doing quite well. We have, I think, some target of $5 billion or whatever. Now we are already discussing with them on manufacturing some of the goods, sell some of our equipments. They are very much interested. So some of the countries are having similar equipment, Russian or the American equipment, like French equipment, like Rafales and all. UAE has a big squadron, so we collaborate with them. So I think in servicing and joint manufacturing of some guns or something like that, we will be working together. And I think there are already talks going on in that, apart from exchanges in different other fields.
I'm given to understand that foreign direct investment and portfolio investments from these countries also look very promising right now.
Well, they have committed to $75 billion, as I said, UAE, $100 billion by Saudi Arabia, and they are already into refineries and all different kinds of areas. Some of these investments take longer, but you'll be surprised that even during the pandemic, a large amount of Saudi investments came into Reliance Group. Likewise, in many other projects they're looking at, they're also looking at real estate in India, they're looking at agriculture sector, they're also looking at construction and in the financial sector, fintech. So they have their, many of the authorities which are charged with their sovereign wealth funds or investments have their offices in India and looking for opportunities.
So that would also generate jobs for Indians.
Of course, I mean that's a natural thing that jobs will be there, but then we have already got about 8-9 million people who are living in those countries and earning quite well and helping in their own development in those countries, and which is very much acknowledged, I must say, by the leadership, the Indians' contribution.
And
so I think it's a mutually beneficial
Mr. Modi
enterprise.
never loses an opportunity to highlight India's Yuva Shakti whenever he goes to any country, and he says this is our huge demographic asset.
Well, it is in terms of size, yes, we are the most populous country in the world, but most of the Middle East also is a very young country. They are also very young, and therefore it is much more easier for our youth to interact with them and to be able to work together.
The GCC is also looking at partnership in renewable energy with India. Is it? How would that pan out?
Well, renewable energy, like we have actually constructed one of the 1,000 megawatt one of the biggest solar energy plants in UAE with the Saudi fund. There's an Indian company which has done it. We are also looking at several other opportunities in that regard. But new thing is hydrogen, in which we are collaborating. India has a hydrogen mission, so there is a lot of possibility in the hydrogen area for this. Apart from that, gas imports, they are also very useful for us, and they can invest in our hydropower plants and all that. So this is, you know, it's a two-way process. Yes.
Sunday was a very eventful day for our Foreign Office. I mean, while Dr. Jaishankar landed in Riyadh, at the same time the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, you talked about him, Sheikh Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, arrived in New Delhi and on his first official visit to India. Some people say that the visit is some kind of a way that India is investing in the relationship, and he's also going to visit Mumbai to participate in a business forum, and he's accompanied by a business delegation. How do you look at his visit?
Well, you have to see it in this way. In the recent years, since 2015, I would say, when Prime Minister Modi took over, the first country he went to was UAE. After that, he's been there 6 more times. Sheikh Mohammed, who's the current president, he has been to India at least 4 or 5 times. Now he is the Crown Prince, and his first visit to India, coming with a big business delegation, which shows that in the strategic partnership, the economic component of the relationship has a much greater impetus or importance. And therefore, whether it is joint ventures, whether it is investments, and you'll be surprised, we have more than 6,000, 7,000 Indian companies in UAE. We have invested ourselves billions of dollars in UAE. Many of our moneyed people prefer to go to UAE and work there also. So this is a kind of, so what he is doing, he has come here of course, to follow up on various, the momentum that has been created by the visit of his own leaders and by Prime Minister Modi's. And I think that this is just taking forward into a relationship. And these are the one thing which this government has done, which I quite like, is they have created these high-level monitoring councils, which is at the leadership level, to monitor the progress of various projects, various commitments that have been done. So this is a relationship, but as I would like to say that every relationship needs constant nurturing. You cannot take any relationship as granted. And that's the reason that the interactions at a frequent levels is much more important. I remember once to late Srimati Sushma Swaraj, I told her, I said, Madam, if you are, these people are very different people. They only believe in interpersonal relationships. So you must, if you can, give them a call to your counterpart, say, I'm coming to have coffee with you. Without any agenda, you will get much more, whatever you want. Because once the trust is generated, which is what has been done today, if you come to think of it, at the leadership level, and so that pays off a lot of dividends for both sides.
But UAE is the common thread, both in the GCC and through the Crown Prince's visit. That is that may have been certainly
it is a very
premeditated.
No, it is a very big relationship with UAE. As I said, it's the fourth largest trading partner for us. Third largest, sorry. It's the third largest trading partner. Many years it has been even second, many years ago. They are a fourth largest investor in India. So it always, whenever there is a greater meet in the relationship, it gives you greater opportunities to explore more. And that's precisely what is happening. I mean, we are working with them in this space. We are working in the nuclear energy. We are working in the climate change. In every which way you look at it. So we have a very solid relationship with them, with the institutional frameworks that have been created over time.
Yeah, but his visit coincides with the GCC, right?
Well, I think that this is a good thing, no? It shows that they all are invested in this relationship.
Right. Thank you so much, Ambassador Trigunayat, for your insight into the subject and for telling our viewers the significance of the strategic significance of the GCC summit, as also the visit of the Crown Prince to India. And we hope that a lot of commitments that these countries have made come true.
Yes,
and are fruitful for both India and the GCC.
It's in their interest also.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you
India
so much.
is a big opportunity.
Yeah. So thank you very much, viewers, for watching StatNews Global. We are back with a big bang, as I have been saying. Please like, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching The Gist.